and a black screen. So we flip to this one. Hey, what's up? Let's talk longevity. Um, for those of you who've been following a little bit, you got a sense that I'm now 51 years old. My my passion really is, I got a lot of passions, but really, and you think about the different areas of life, health, wealth, relationships, kind of the three core desires. I like throwing in the emotional intelligence, right? The focus, improving ourselves, getting better, and then also a foundation, right? A connection to a higher power. And so in those areas, I'm passionate about high performance, passionate about optimizing those and being the very best that I can be. And I know that I came into this lifetime with a series of constraints. One of them was not health. And for a lot of people, I understand health is a constraint for them. I've been very fortunate, very blessed that it's just been a lifelong commitment and consistent process to take care of my body and to thrive. And I really don't have to think about it. I know so many people who struggle with this, and they have to, they think about it, they worry about it, it stresses them out. They look in the mirror, they don't like what they see, they're not feeling good. And man, I get that, because for me, it's not necessarily in health, but it's in other areas of my life. Like I'm building a business, and there's a lot of self doubt. I look in the mirror, and I'm questioning myself, and uh, not being nice to myself around that area of life. So look, everyone's got their stuff. So look, it may show up in different forms. Anyway, let's talk about the health piece, because people are asking me, what are you doing to take care of yourself? How are you still thriving, taking care of your body, and performing at a high level? And so I want to talk about the long game. Now, as a young man, I was in it for bigger, faster, stronger. Look, I was an athlete. Like that was the main focus. What do I got to do to get bigger, faster, stronger? And when we're young, we don't think about the end, or at least the latter part of life. It's just all about the right now. And I get that. I mean, I've got young sons, or teenage sons, and so I see them going through that right now. And so I get that. I remember what it was like to be a young man, being able to not even think about it and just boom, step up and execute and perform, and your body just responds in all areas. I mean, talking about exercise, talking about sex, talking about nutrition, taking care of your body, it just responds. And once you get a little bit older, it doesn't quite respond that way. And the thing about it, gang, is you see so much thrown on social media. People are getting a little bit older who are taking care of their bodies. And which is great. It's amazing. Bless them. It's amazing the work they're putting in. It's just, you just can't believe what you see. It's just a lot of BS. A lot of people who are filming themselves when they've gone through a process of leaning down, and then, which is fine. There's nothing wrong with that. But they're talking about it and promoting it as if that's how they normally live. And I just think that it lacks a little bit of integrity there, because it's just not the truth. It's true that they look that way, and they got themselves dieted down to that, but that's not how they're living day to day. And it's confusing for people who don't understand that process. I got into learning how to manipulate my body from a nutrition and from an exercise standpoint very early on in my life, really in my early 20s. And so I don't know why I learned that back then, but I know now. Like it was kind of cool. I liked it. I needed to put on weight. I was playing professional football. I needed to maintain a certain amount of weight, strength, force, power, all that. And then uh, I just loved it, and I continued to commit to that. I didn't stop, and I see so many former athletes who stop. They put on weight. They're on medications, blood pressure, statins, those things that could be avoided. Not some people. I get it. Some people are genetically um, exposed to that. But for a lot of people, a lot of could be avoided if they learn how to take care of their body. And so, what I want to talk about is the longevity game because in the beginning for me it was bigger, faster, stronger. Right now, perform, execute. Now I'm looking at it and saying it's not about bigger, faster, stronger. It's about longevity. And the best way to explain this really is in a sports analogy. If I'm a track and field guy, I'm a master's track and field athlete, and I love the competition, but I love the training behind it. So I'm going to use the 100 meters. And if anyone's a track and field, maybe a former athlete, maybe you are an aficionado like myself, you really like the sport, just let me know in the chat. I want to know or athletics, depending on what part of the world you're in. If you're an athletics fan, track and field fan, let me know. But I'm gonna explain your life in the span of 100 meters. 100 meters, your life. Here's the thing. When you come out of the blocks for 100 meters, you're coming from a dead stop. And you're applying force against the track to generate speed from nothing. Just like coming out of the womb, right? It's just a blast of sensory information as we're coming out of the blocks. Then you have in the actual race, you have the acceleration phase of the race where we're accelerating. We're trying to get up to top speed, just like life. And I remember this from being an athlete. It was, and this is the biggest trap for a lot of athletes, is we have a hockey stick of success in the beginning because our bodies are developing, we're learning the game, and it's just like every day we're getting better and faster and stronger, and we're seeing it differently. And it's just like, boom, that's the acceleration phase in life. And it may not be sports, it could be whatever you're doing, education, job trade, theater, like music. There's just this hockey stick of success. That's the acceleration phase in the race. We're accelerating to top speed. Right? Then we get to top speed, and the thought process for people who don't understand the 100 meters is the fastest person wins the race. That's not always the case. It's who slows down the least that wins the race. Because at about 40-ish meters, and you all who are scientists behind this can correct me. I'm not here to say it exactly factually, but somewhere around that 40, 45-ish, 50 meters, like we're at top speed. There's no more accelerating at that point. We are at top speed. You get into your late 20s, early 30s, and like you're at your peak. For men, peak testosterone. For women, they've already, the brains have already been formally developed. Men, we're still lagging behind, and so we're at our peak. And then what happens is we start to decelerate, and that's what the body does in the actual race. It starts to decelerate 60 meters, 70 meters. We start slowing down every 10 meters. Remember, the person that slows down the least is going to win the race. So when you think about your life in longevity, what ends up happening is we get to that 40 years old, that 50 years old, and it starts to, I'll take it back, the 30-year-old, 40-year-old, and it starts this decline. That's nature, baby. That's just the way nature, everything in nature happens. But for us, it's just this steady decline. But what happens is when you don't have a foundation, when you do not have the nutrition, the exercise, being a scientist of your body and understanding it, what happens is it's a rapid decline. And you slow down at 60 meters. By the time you get to 70 meters, like you're toast, you're burnt. And some people end at 60, 70. They're not going any farther in the race. And so my intention went from I'm going to be bigger, faster, stronger. I'm going to as on as I can right now to perform. I see it a lot differently now. Now in my 50s is I'm playing the long game. And while everybody else is decelerating very quickly, I want to decelerate slowly. You follow me? Look, it's natural decline, it's nature, but I want to do it at a much slower pace than traditional people, like me, uh, anybody else, traditionally. So rapid decline versus just this long, steady process. So what am I doing to do that? Number one, nutrition. I am a long time been dialed into my nutrition and dabbled with it in various different ways. I don't really subscribe to any particular diet per se. I have been for the last 18 years now, going on 19 years, a primarily plant-based eater, and um, that's been an evolution and process since then. I've dabbled and tried different things, but I tried it, and I shouldn't say I tried it. I looked for what works best for me, and that I'm able to thrive. I'm able to put on muscle. I'm able to maintain strength and power and testosterone and all that by eating primarily plants. That may not be for you, and that's okay. It's about finding what is right for you and then doing that. And it may take different trying different things. The next thing is I've always been an advocate of exercise and training, particularly lifting weights. I'll give you a little bit of light there. Always been lifting weights, continue to lift weights. I'm usually in the weight room at least 3 times per week, and if not more when I'm depending on the weather, doing plyometrics, etc. And the weight training is so important, in my opinion, for our longevity, because as our motor starts to decline, as we start to slow down a little bit, you got to have that strength, not only to burn the calories, but also to maintain your core and your hips. And as you get a little bit older, you probably heard of people falling and stuff like that, elderly people falling. Like, you got to have the strength behind it. So always lifting weights. The other thing I do compete at the master's level in track and field. And so I run fast. I sprint. I'm sprinting usually 2 to 3 times per week, again, depending on the weather. And there's so much data behind sprinting and the quick movements to help our bodies. If you haven't attempted trying running fast, highly suggest it, but take it easy in the beginning. I'll tell you what, because I've sprinted for a long time, but I have dealt with an Achilles issue for over a decade, and even me having all this, just these last 6 months, it's 8 months now, I've poured so much into my ankle and calf strength, stability, because what was happening is I didn't even realize it, but my feet were collapsing as I was running, putting a lot of strain on my Achilles. And so I've been really working on that stiffness of my Achilles, of my calf, so that I can not deal with these Achilles anymore and run faster. Of course, a lot of emphasis on my hips, my glutes, my hip flexors, my adductors, abductors, a lot of focus puts on that for performance, but it's also for longevity. I'm gonna let the cat out of the bag, but if you ask my kids how long I'm gonna be around, they'll tell you the answer, because I've been telling it to them for 20 years. And that's 114. I don't know where the number came from, but I've just had it in my head for a long time. I'm gonna be here till 114. And so I got a lot of life to live, and I gotta make sure I take care of my body to do that. I'll tell you what I have not done up to this point. And, I keep really around about between 177 and 180 pounds. I could care less about weight. I've never measured weight. I just know when I go into my annuals, I get my weight done. And I'm usually fluctuating around there. But I could care less about weight. It's about look. It's about feel. It's about look. And, I keep relatively low body fat. My testosterone is still at 51 over 1,000. I don't take anything. I don't take any testosterone. I don't take any peptides. Really, at this point, I really, especially being a primarily plant-based eater, I'm looking at my protein intake making sure that I'm getting that in. And then I do cycle with creatine. I don't take it every day. I know some people have got reasons why they do that. For me, I just know that on my sprint days, I don't take any creatine. I just get out there and go without it. I just know over the years, back to when it was first out, I used to have challenges with creatine in my hamstrings. Probably wasn't a creatine, but it just, I don't know. That was probably just a lot was going on. But so I've just always, during my high intense sprint days, I don't take creatine, but I do it, especially during my lifting days and all other days. Uh, and then, my fish oils, I'm really leaning into fish oils because uh, I know the plant-based people are like, well, you're taking fish oil. Look, I'm not doing the way I'm eating is what feels right for me. You do what's right for you. I feel good on the way that I work. I have been incorporating fish oils in primarily for this reason. I've been finding that it really feels good on my joints and my tendons. So, talk about playing the long game here, the longevity. Yeah, I'm not immune to the aches and pains of a 51-year-old man. It's the reality. And I actually asked world record holder, multiple world champion, masters track and field athlete 15 years ago. I was like, dude, what is the success to be doing this at 50 and 60 years old? His answer was simply managing the injuries. He didn't say avoiding them, managing them. At our age, our extended chronological age, we're in our 50s now, the nagging aches and pains, injuries are part of the process if you're going to be pushing your body. I want to push my body. And so I tell my PT, I tell my chiropractor, massage, I say, look, my job is to go just push my body. Your job is help me recover. Now, what I've been leaning more into is the recovery because at this age, my brain still thinks I'm 21 and says, let's train, let's keep training harder. But my body's like, yo, man, that was 30 years ago. You're 51. And we can't train that hard. So I find the more that I focus on recovery, actually the better I'm getting. So recovery is not doing nothing, FYI. It's active recovering. So it could be anything from getting the pool to just doing some striders. It could be doing an actual recovery from uh, saunas or I don't do a whole lot of like cold plunges and stuff like that. But I mean, I like those stuff. I wish I could do more of them, but it's just not in my routine right now. Massages, just things rolling out, getting into the Epsom salt baths, stuff like that. Just active recovery, moving my body is imperative. The one thing that I do for my longevity is my core. So I would say every morning, but at least I would say 4, maybe 5 days out of the week, my morning routine includes core. I just want to get that out of the way because when I'm at the gym, I don't have. I'm moving, I'm pushing things. I don't have time to kick back and do some core, so I usually get that done early in the morning. And of course, if anybody has questions, uh, by all means, throw that in the chat or throw in the comments if you're watching this on the replay. And so I get that out of the way. Now, that being said, there may be a time down the road where I may need extra support in some regards. But at this point, I don't. I'm able to manage my body and I listen to my body and I'm really a scientist of it. I try to understand. It's the only vehicle I have to exist on this earth. This is my vehicle. You all catch that? Yes. I am not my body. I am me. I'm a soul. And I just happen to be inside of this body. And it's the only one I got. So, baby, I'm going to take care of it. And I'm going to be riding in this vehicle for as long as I can. We want to play the long game. Think about it from that standpoint. And look, some people aren't on board with this. They're saying, hey, look, I want to live right now. I want to drink. I want to smoke. I want to take testosterone and I just want to blow it out right now. And hey, that's all good. Ain't nothing wrong with that whatsoever. If those are your goals, like fantastic. For me, And I'm not saying those people can't have longevity in their cards. I just know for me that doesn't work for me. So I'm at this stage. I am just focused on how can I tap into my body, my training, my health, my nutrition, and just manipulate that. And look, I get it. There's a lot of technology coming out, a lot of these peptides coming out that are going to change the game. And I'm not diving into it right now, but what I am doing is to observe and watch and just kind of see what's working, what people are using, what kind of results they are, and then if at some point I feel like that might be a good fit for me, I'll consider what I could use and incorporate into my routine and my training. So anyway, I just want to share this with you. If you're someone who's over 50, just some ideas as far as what I'm doing. Bottom line is, I really want you to think about it from playing the long game and what that looks like for you, so that you can look and feel 10, 15 years younger than you are. You can be running with people or hanging out with people that are 10, 15 years younger than you. Yeah, I've been very blessed to be able to have people say like, dude, you are um, look a lot younger than you are, or you're performing a lot longer than you are, and age is just a number, man. It really is. It's just what's going on for you on the inside, and how you're taking care of this is what's most important. So I'll end it there. Any questions, by all means, shoot them out to me. If you have some ideas as far as what you'd like to hear from me on a live like this, just man, shoot me a message, shoot a comment. Like, what would be a topic that you'd like me to share about maybe what I'm doing or expand upon? I will leave you this. I am not an expert in any of this. I don't claim to be, don't want to be, and but I study a lot of it. So I've got some insight and some ideas around it. And I consult with some of the best of the best to help me along this journey. So thank you all for being here. Let's play the long game.